This is a pretty funny story. So I was meant to go and do a, I was meant to go do a kermesse. Well, my coach Pete actually, my coach Pete, had organized for me to go do one of the TDF kermesses.
Oh, yeah.
And it was literally, it was the next day after I landed from like traveling from Australia, and I was gonna have to catch a train for like hours and hours and hours to this crit. I think it was going to be like an 8 hour train ride to this crit to then just go race a crit and then go 8 hours home. And
Yeah.
this was like, and then this was um, the next day after just like traveling from Australia.
Oh
And then,
God.
so
Right.
I know I should have, I probably, in hindsight, I probably should have done it, but I was just so exhausted from just the
Yeah.
travel
Travel. Yeah.
that I didn't. And then instead, I was just like, oh, I'll just go race this random kermesse, just to like get going again. And so I ended my mate Tristan, my teammate, he didn't end up going to the race.
Right.
And then I decided I was just like, oh, I'll just go have a race. So
Yeah.
I ended up just riding there by myself to this kermesse, and then I had my backpack on and had like everything in there. Like I had like my phone and all like my passport, just everything I needed.
Yeah.
And I get to the race, and then it's a weird, like these random kermesses, like they're pretty cool, but I don't know, it's just like they set up these pop-up festivals, and then within the festival there's like this random kermesse that happens, and it's pretty cool. Like the atmosphere is pretty cool. So did sign on, and then I, because I was the only person there and there's all these teams and stuff there, I just threw my bag into the corner of this pub and was like, oh, I'll get my phone and everything at the end of this race. And then pretty much like start, and then during the race, it got to this stage where it was a super fast, super strung out on this like really rough road. And then when I checked like afterwards, when I eventually got my Wahoo, we would have been doing 60 k's an hour like easily.
Oh,
And it was strung out, and then it kind of like eased up a little bit. And then I remember I like pulled off from my turn, and then was like easing up and just like filtering back through the group. And this random person was like doing a massive flyer and like lost control and somehow just like crashed straight into the back of me. Like I didn't even see it happen. So he like crashed straight into the back of me. And then I just like remember hitting the ground like so hard.
oh,
And I remember I remember like hitting it, lying on the ground and knowing like I'd really hurt myself.
oh shit.
But
Yeah.
then but I it was like that bad that I was like, okay, I need to like really be calm because I know how bad this is.
Oh shit.
And then also because I know like I'm by myself.
Yeah.
I think because no, my phone is in the pub. Like my mate's like
Somewhere
an hour and a
else.
half, yeah, like an
Yeah.
hour and a half ride away, where we were staying. Like, and then obviously like family and stuff is back in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
And like instantly I knew I had like done some bad stuff. Like to myself, I just like just fully smashed myself up.
Yeah.
And then pretty much just lying there. And they didn't give me any painkillers for like 2 hours.
Oh
And I've
shit.
like talked to people about like why they've done this, and nobody really understood why. And when I've talked to who had crashes in Belgium as well, I've like had accidents, they've been able to get access to like painkillers straight away.
Right.
But I don't know, for some reason, I don't know, maybe if they, because of like hitting my head, they wanted to do a scan first or something, but they didn't let me have any painkillers. Um, so I was in the worst pain of my life for like the next 2 hours. And I ended up having 8 broken bones. So it was like,
Really?
yeah, so I ended up having 8 broken bones. Fully smashed my head up. I had internal bleeding in my stomach. Like it was, yeah, so it was really bad. So I was in a lot of pain. So pretty much then it had bruised up my lungs and everything. So fast forward a little bit, obviously like I had to get an operation, but I couldn't get my operation straight away because I had like my internal bleeding.
Right.
And then I also like had bruised up my lungs and everything like that really badly. So you're not allowed to go under for an operation when,
Ah, right. Yeah.
yeah, with all that stuff going on. So
And you,
I
this
had,
is you on, and then you're in the hospital on your own.
yeah, yeah. So this story is pretty long, but I don't know. It might be interesting to somebody. Um, so so I did. So that was 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from then, to being able to get my operation.
Oh man.
So that was long. So ended up getting my operation. I had to get my collarbone operated on, and my elbow, because they were like the most messed up. So I ended up breaking my elbow, my shoulder, my collarbone, and a bunch of ribs, my scapula,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. And so got my operation, and then I don't, it was summer at the time, and in the hospital I was in it was a place called Denver. It was, I don't know, it was kind of like an older hospital,
Yeah.
and it was so hot, like they had no aircon, like the fans were horrific. So they're like sticking ice packs on me, like to cool my body down. So like after the operation, like I was just sweating, like it was hot. And then the insurance company was like trying to organize like a um a taxi for me to like go back to Kortrijk where I was staying. Except the taxis there, it's just like a mission here. Like like I don't know, you just can't find them for some reason. I don't know if it was just like my luck, but it was really hard to organize. So then they just kept on bailing. Like they were trying to organize these taxis, and then they would bail. So then I ended up having like to walk to this train station like a few days after like my operation, and then catch the train back to Kortrijk.
No.
Yeah. So then the plan there was I was just gonna do my rehab over there, and then because at this stage it wasn't that bad, like compared to the grand scheme of things, like I
Right.
was gonna do my rehab over there. And then probably this is probably now 5 days after my operation, because I did like 3 or 4 straight after in the hospital, and now I've been able to leave.
Yeah.
Um, so I was able to leave, and then I remember this one night just having like the worst headaches of my life. Like I didn't know what it was, and I just didn't feel right. And it was like at midnight, and then I couldn't sleep. I didn't know if it was like because it was hot.
Hmm.
And then I remember like waking up in the morning, I still had it, and I was like, maybe like there's something with like I just need a coffee, because I haven't had a coffee in like a week. You know how you like get
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
bit of
yeah.
withdrawal, like maybe I just need a coffee. And then I had my coffee, and like this never went away. And then it was so crazy, like in the space of 6 hours, like from like me in the morning, I just went downhill so fast. And it was so weird because um I was having a nurse come each day to change all my dressings, because like keep in mind, like it wasn't just like the operation
Yeah, the
sites.
rash.
I'd also like the whole side of like my was it was
Yeah.
disgusting. Like it was so much skin off and such a pain.
Yeah.
So I had someone like daily coming to check my things, and in the morning they checked, and it was like fine. And but then like as the day went on, it just like got worse and worse and worse. And dead set, like by the time it came to the afternoon, I was like shaking. I felt like I had like COVID, but I also felt like I had food poisoning at the same time. Like I was feeling sick, and then around my wound on my collarbone, it was just like getting super tender, and it got to a point where it was like fully just full of fluid, and like going up my neck. And it got to a point where I was like struggling to breathe, and like every time I would swallow, it would be like the worst pain ever. So so then I was just like, this is like not good. So this Belgium doctor came to my apartment, and he was like, get in the car, like we're taking to the hospital now. And like fully just like took me himself to back to the hospital. And then I remember getting to the hospital, and I was waiting there for ages, and I was in the worst pain. And I was like so confused of what was going on. Like I just had no idea. Um, and then pretty much as like it went on, they started like looking, and it was pretty like gross, like my collarbone, like obviously it's
Yeah.
because now there's an infection.
Oh,
um
great.
except except they didn't do any like tests or anything like that, about like what bacteria it was. And then they also weren't very helpful at this stage, as they were just like going to give me these random antibiotics, and then also send me back to my apartment. And then I was just like, there's no way I'm going back to my apartment. Like I'm staying the night. And then pretty much like over like the course of the next few days, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I just it felt like I was like It was so like it was like not good. So I remember like I had temperatures of like 42.
Oh,
Um, it was really bad. I was vomiting all day. Like
are you still on your own at this point?
yeah, all by myself. Apart from my mate Tristan, who was
Yeah,
in, and he would come and visit every now and then. And then also Tristan's mum, was also on holiday, so if she needed, she would come and pop in.
yeah, right.
Except she at this point, Tristan's mum had to leave to go back to Australia, so she could see me until like before my operation, and then
Okay.
after then it was just me and Tristan.
Oh man.
So then yeah, this like got worse and pretty much like got sepsis and like my got like blood poisoning from the infection. So it was a
Oh
staph
really?
infection. Yeah, so it ended up being a staph
Oh
infection.
yeah.
And then pretty much just like was going crazy. So then I ended up getting 3 operations while I was there. So yeah, so it was bad. So
What
but
were
then
those
here's like
operations for, Elliot?
all clean outs and for the infection.
Oh, to cut it all out.
They had to clean out all like the gunk because it was just spreading everywhere.
Oh my
Except
God.
yes, but when they do a clean out, apparently it's like really aggressive and it like also damages the bone.
Yeah.
So now like we're in a weird situation because like keep in mind like this is only like a week or two. Oh no, this is only like yeah a week or two after I've just got my collarbone like plated and screwed because it was fully like mangled.
Hmm.
So with a infection like this, what happens is the bacteria clings onto the metal and it will just like build and grow and spread. And pretty much the only way to get rid of the infection is if you remove all the metal in the site. So yeah, I know. So it's like either the collarbone won't heal or like you're gonna have an infection. So we were like caught in this like crossroads. So they would when I'd get these operations done, they would like remove like parts of metal
Oh my God.
to like start clearing out the infection, but to make it like manageable. So the infection would never go. It would just like become a bit more manageable.
Right.
So then pretty much I remember it got to this one scenario where I was having like that much medication that I had to get put like with a pick line through like my jugular. So I was being like fed medication like through
Your
like this
neck.
like through my neck. Yeah, through
Dude.
like this. Yeah. So it's pretty full on. Because like I and also I've my whole life I've had like a fear of needles. Like I'd have to like lie down when I go get a blood test and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
now like I'm like now like from during this whole thing like I've become like a weapon at it because I've had that many like
You
those
had one in
what are they
your neck, mate.
yeah what are they called
IV?
to yeah I've had that many they gave me that many it would be multiple a day
Yeah.
where like it's I just got really got used to it. So yeah, so then it got to that point. But I remember like going in, um, and the process to get this thing in your neck, however they did it is pretty a bit daunting. So pretty much how they were going to do it is they like have you on this bed and then they tilt you upside down because if you're like upwards like that, air will get into your jugular and then like then you'll have air in your jugular and it'll cause like it'll
Yeah.
go to your lungs, which isn't
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So they have to like tilt you down and then they also have like this like machine where they can see it. So they're like lining it up like this, and then also with like the needle ready to like. It's a real weird process, and it was pretty scary because it's also like happening right there. And then
What were you feeling when you were in the chair?
yeah, I was
What were
like
you feeling?
not keen on it at all. And then they usually would. I think I can't remember. I can't remember what side. On my, I'm not too sure, but they did it on the opposite side that they were technically meant to do it on.
Right.
So then what happened is they ended up like bailing on the idea. Like the surgeon, like before he did it, he was about to do it, and then he goes, no, we're not going to do this. It's like too dangerous or something like that.
Holy shit.
So then like they bailed on it, and then I went back to my room, and obviously like the infection is still getting worse. So I had to go in for another operation. Go in for the operation, and I remember waking up and I had this thing in my neck. So it's pretty like annoyed because I was happy not to have it, but then
Yeah.
I've like woken up and I didn't even know I was getting it, and then I
Oh
had this
man.
random thing. So fast track a little bit. Now I'm down to like one screw holding my collarbone together after I've had like multiple and like all these plates. So I had like this one screw just holding it all together. But it because the metal's still in there, the infection like
Yep.
can't be
Go
killed
away.
yet. But I got to a really good point. So now I was cleared to be able like healthy enough to fly back to Australia. And this is probably I've done 6 weeks now in hospital at this point in Belgium.
6 weeks after your crash?
Yeah, after my crash.
What point was the neck thing in?
The last 2 weeks.
Okay, all right. So then 2 weeks
Yeah.
after that, you were then well enough to be able to fly back to
Fly
Australia.
back to Australia. Yeah. So then also like to take that thing out of your neck is pretty like
Oh
annoying as
yeah.
well because they have to like flip you upside down and it's like a massive line. And then you have to like hold your breath and push outwards whilst they take it out. And they're like telling me it's fine and like if you do it properly. But I remember like they took it out and then instantly I had like these like really weird pains like in my neck. And I was like telling them about it. And they just like said, no, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. It's just because you've had had this line in your neck for so long, it's like damaged the muscles. So then like now, like, so I've got like this weird pain now, like got all the infection and everything. And now the insurance like companies like being able to get me a flight back to Australia. So then like 2 days later, I can go back to Australia.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty funny story because when I organized it, we were like, oh, this taxi is it's like pushing it to make this flight on time. So long story short, like the taxi ended up like sleeping through his alarm. So I missed like my flight back to right back to like the whole taxi story. So then missed my flight, but then they rearranged another one. So I was just waiting at the airport until my next flight. So I got this flight back to Australia. Then I landed in Australia.
That must have been a good feeling hitting.
Yeah, it was a really good feeling. Yeah, but then I had to go straight back into hospital again. And then because the infection started getting bad again. So pretty much, what they found when I got home is that like the infection was like destroying like all my collarbone.
Yeah.
So it was like pretty urgent to like get it sorted. So did another week and a half in this Australian hospital, in Brisbane before like the last operation. But then right before I like went into my last operation, I was telling the doctor about like this pain in my neck that I had been having.
Right.
And then they like took me down to get a scan, and turns out like I had like this like massive like blood clot like in my jugular. This whole time. Yeah. This whole time that we didn't worry about it, and I had like flown home from Australia with it and everything. So then so then like because of this, they were gonna like postpone my surgery because they weren't going to be allowed to like get an operation whilst you have like a blood clot still there.
Yeah.
Because then if you do like blood thinning medication and stuff,
Yeah.
you can't. So there was that, except but my collarbone was like getting bad, and like it was just killing everything, and it was just not good. So pretty much they just like said they had to like risk it, and it's like the first like one of the like times I've been actually like probably scared. They're just like, we're gonna have to like operate, and then you're just gonna have to go on like this medication like straight after your operation to make sure like no more blood clots form, and like this one doesn't travel anywhere. So that was pretty scary. But pretty much like got all the metal removed, and then for the next 6 weeks I had to be on like this crazy dose of antibiotics like every day. So for like the next 6 weeks to clear this infection. And then from then I got like the clear to ride, and then I had 10 weeks before nationals.
So you wouldn't have touched the bike
that whole time. Yeah.
And then in 10 weeks, you roll up and finish 15th in the road nats.
Yeah.
Dude, that story's crazy.
Yeah. So, it was pretty wild.
But you only got, you must have had moments in that whole period where you thought you were going to die.
Yeah. But I didn't really like, I was kind of just like asking the doctors when it was really bad. I was kind of just like am I okay? And is like going to make me sick and stuff. And they were just like saying like, oh, it's not good, but you'll be fine kind of thing.
Okay.
And I just like wasn't really researching like what like these like blood infections and stuff. like I was just like trying hard not to.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to do that.
Yeah, but honestly, like in the moment, I didn't where one of the hospitals I was in Belgium, because I was in two different ones. The guy, some of the people I were like sharing a room with, they like made my life seem easy, like for like what
Oh,
they had.
really?
So it was like, I don't know, it was hard for me to feel bad for myself, like for some like the things I was like would see like for like that
Yeah.
they were going through,
Yeah.
like things that like they won't be able to fix ever and stuff. And
Yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, it could be a lot worse, to be honest. So that like made put things in perspective for me, like whilst I was there. But then it wasn't until like afterwards that like I was like trying to like process it all and like go, oh, it was probably not ideal. But yeah, but it was just crazy that like the at the time it was like just like broken bones and stuff that I thought was a massive problem. Except then when it becomes a issue like that where it's like
Yeah.
so like you can't even see what the problem is.
Yeah.
And then this all yeah. So it was crazy. So at but yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez. It must have been what was the first bike ride back like?
It was good. I remember I was doing like my first bike ride. I did like 130 watts for like half an hour, and my average heart rate was like
Nice.
180.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. Yeah, it was quite a while like that. And there were like points where I was like, oh, like because I'm like getting to the age now where it's like time to like really like press on if you like
Yeah,
want to like make it in a way. And I
definitely.
was just like, oh, this is like not ideal. But yeah, like my family and friends, my coach, my girlfriend, and everything were like super supportive. There was definitely like a lot of like tears and stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a rough run, but yeah, got there in the end.
Wow.